Alright, well, my name is Gordon, as you may well know. Number one is a picture of me and my sister Alta at Great Falls. I put it as number one because my sister is probably the most important person in the world to me. We adopted her from China, which we'll come to again at number three. And I went there when I was 8 to get her. It was quite an experience, but she's really influenced my life because before I had her, I was an only child and I was very, solitary, even more so than I am now. And she's like the exact opposite of me personality-wise. She's very loud and frankly obnoxious, and but I always enjoy doing things with her and talking to her, and yeah. Number two is a picture of a keyboard, piano keyboard. I play the piano as I have since I was 9, I think. I don't really remember. But it's been a very important part of my life in various ways. It's, as Griffin sort of said in his presentation, it showed me about being responsible and practicing, being diligent and things like that. Although I've never really been very diligent about it. It's mostly just fun to me. But this is a keyboard, not an actual piano. I also have a piano, but I didn't take a picture of that because this keyboard is sort of separate and special to me, as I got it 2 years ago for Christmas, and it's made a big difference in how I play music, I guess. I've become a lot more dedicated to it after getting the keyboard because it's fun. You can play, different instruments and things. So 3 is China. As I said earlier, my sister is adopted from China. And so in order to adopt her, I went on a trip to China with my parents when I was 8. And it was a loathsome experience, I would say. But it was certainly an influential experience in my life. Well, I guess I wasn't really prepared for what China was when I was 8 years old. I mean, I'd spent my entire life in the United States in this rather pleasant area. And when we got to China, we discovered that there were people who didn't speak English or eat the same food as us, and it was quite disturbing. We had to, go up to people in restaurants and try and speak their language, and had to do all sorts of awful things. But going to China did open my eyes, I suppose, to the fact that the world exists. So that's really quite nice. Number 4 is the album Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, which was the first album that I actually really enjoyed. Before I listened to that album, I essentially just listened to whatever music my parents would play in the car, which was largely music like Pink Floyd. But one day I was doing my math homework and I was rather bored by it, so I put on whatever music I could find, and that happened to be it. And I was just blown away by the album and the fact that music could be this good. And so after that, I went and listened through all the Pink Floyd's albums 800 times, and now I don't even like this album anymore, so I listen to it so much. But it used to be my favorite album, and it certainly got me into the world of music. Nowadays, I don't listen to Pink Floyd anymore, but I'll listen to everything from jazz, technical, death metal, obscure Swedish rock, whatever it may be. So, Pink Floyd is sort of the springboard in that area. Number 5 is a picture of a shirt for Sadi's race, which is a race I run every year in Purcellville, Virginia, which is where my cousins live. It's to raise money for an organization called Smile Train, who support children with cleft lip and palate. And my sister had cleft lip and palate, which was part of the reason why we adopted her, so they can't properly do the procedures to remedy that in China. And so it's important to me in that manner, and also because it's a race, and I am a runner. And so I run Sadi's race every year, and I use it as sort of a metric to see how much I've improved. It's a 5K, by the way. So, it's significant in that way, and I have like 6 shirts from it, and I never wear any of them. So, they're all very nice. Number 6 is a piece of sheet music for a song called Restless Night, which I wrote when I was 12, I think, or around that area. I don't remember. It's not a very good piece of music, but it was my first, so it was the starting point. Nowadays, I write a lot of music, largely using this here keyboard, and it's become certainly significant to me, the aspect of writing music. So yeah, 7 is a super mushroom and the Hylian Crest, which are the symbols of the Mario series and the Legend of Zelda series of video games. When I was a kid, and still today, I would play Mario and Zelda a worrying amount of time. It was most of what I did in those days, and certainly video games have shaped my life in a possibly negative, but certainly significant manner as time has gone on. And they've certainly influenced the sort of people that I have as friends and the kind of person I am. Number 8 is my walking shoes. I walk more or less everywhere. I mean, I can't drive, and I've never really tried to. My parents told me to get my learner's permit, so I eventually did that, but I refused to actually drive. So they're like, all right, well, you have to walk, so that's what I do. I walk everywhere. And these shoes are horribly worn out, and I don't use them anymore. The reason they're horribly worn out is because I walk to school every day. I take walks, like after school, every day, which I don't know why, really. It just, I feel a need to walk every so often, and so I do. Number 9 are the symbols for Discord and OSU. Discord is a program used for communicating with people while playing video games mostly. And OSU is a video game. It's an awful video game. Never play it. But it's my favorite. The point of the game is there are these circles on the screen, and you click them to the rhythm, except that you always miss them. So it's really sad. But sometimes you do hit them, and that's the point of the game. And I play that game with various people, my friends mostly. And the reason I have it on here is that it represents what I do in my free time these days, and the sort of the evolution of number 7. My old interest in video games has changed to an interest in worse video games, and so I find new and exciting ways to waste my time in the modern era, I guess. Number 10 is a quote. It says, "The Programmers Credo, I'm not sure. We do these things not because they are easy, but because we thought they were going to be easy." So that's sort of my motto, I guess. It's in this case, it's sort of directed at programmers, and I am a programmer, so that's part of why that quote appeals to me, I guess. But also because I'm lazy, and I don't like to do things unless they are easy. Which is, it's not a particularly positive trait, but it's certainly a defining one. Like, I don't do much of my homework outside of school, or at all if I don't have to, and you know, my life has become increasingly dedicated to non-hard work related things. I don't know. Being lazy is an important part of who I am, so that's why it's on. And that's it. That's number 10.